Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Quest Connect session for July. And while I'm waiting for you all to connect and get here, we'll just presence that it's wonderful for us to be able to come together. And this sessions we know are a valuable connection for people who've been to Quest and are wanting to reconnect with the teachings and with us, the facilitators, and also a wonderful connecting to Quest for people who have not yet been to Quest but who are enjoying, have found out about Patria and are enjoying being with us and finding out more about the Quest teachings and events. So welcome to you all. Thank you for being here this afternoon on a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, which is quite a nice time, isn't it? Quite a relaxing, hopefully, time of the week when we can just let down a bit and spend time together, really focusing on things that are important to us in our lives and things that are going to be helpful to us in our lives. And we know that the people who tune in to Quest, are drawn to Patria and her teachings and the events because we're looking for ways to assist ourselves, develop skills, develop insight, develop awareness about how to deal with difficult times. I'd say that's the biggest theme of the Quest teachings, Quest for life. It's Quest for living our lives with more insight, more joy, more awareness. And so that's what our teachings are committed to today. And today is the beginning of NAIDOC week in Australia. And thank you, Glyn, for coming in and introducing yourself. And I'll presence that I am on the land of the Gubbi Gubbi people in Queensland and would like to also pay my respects to the elders past and present and emerging. And thank you and welcome you, whatever country you're on at this point in time. And so it is both the beginning of NAIDOC week and it's the entering into the second half of the year. And that's why we thought it could be a lovely time to recap and kind of focus and center ourselves on how it's been so far this year and how we're viewing the second half of the year, because the main message that we're bringing to people's awareness at Quest is that inner peace and that joy or happiness are really more about our inner state than they are about our outer state or the state of the world itself. And, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the teaching attributed to Nelson Mandela and many others that say, people can take away many things, but they can't take away our choice about how we respond to the things that happen in our lives. And so this, I feel, is a very important mindset to focus on together today as we kind of go, wow, okay, here we are mid-year and the middle of winter for those of us in Australia. And there's a lot of reactions that we could be having to the state of the world right now. And I thought it would be useful for us to come together and really use the Quest teachings to say, how are we going to choose to respond to the world right now? And what will really support us in our commitment to the quality of our life? How can we best support ourselves to live the second half of 2022 in the best way possible for us? So that's what we're going to speak about this afternoon and share about. And let's just start together with bringing in, people are still logging in and it's beautiful to have you all here. So let's start by coming together with coming to our senses mindfulness practice, which if any of you have been to Quest know that we kind of get that programmed into your brain by the time you leave a program, so that you've got this very, very useful tool to go home with. And, I've done it in the car, at traffic lights, in a queue at the bank. You know, it's not, you don't have to sit down on a lotus leaf to do it. It's a wonderful practice. Patria herself says she does it every 5 minutes, you know, particularly when she's dealing with chronic pain. And so it's a very, very useful practice. We call it coming to our senses, and we'll do it together right now. And so if you're comfortable to close your eyes or gently resting your eyes softly so that you can bring your attention down to the soles of your feet and really feeling the soles of your feet in your shoes or your socks or on the carpet, wherever they are, on the grass maybe, and tuning into the sole of your feet, the middle of the sole of your feet. We're imagining there's a point there, and there is in fact a meridian there in your nervous system that can connect down into the earth itself. And so we're connecting our consciousness into the earth itself. And whether your feet are on the earth or a long way from it, it doesn't really matter, because energetically we live on this magnificent blue planet revolving around our small sun, part of the Milky Way galaxy. We're on arm 2B, and here we are on this wonderful planet this afternoon together. So just connecting in there to the earth itself, and maybe even breathing in as if you were able to breathe in the energy of the earth itself, and just see if that you feel a tingling perhaps in the bottom of your feet or whatever you experience. And then we're bringing our awareness up to the body, the weight of the body, our sit bones on our seat or our bed or the ground, wherever we're sitting, and just feeling the weight of those bones, made of calcium and minerals, and they're made of the same minerals that the earth and the stars are made of, which is such a wonderful point of connection, that in our body, when they do the molecular breakdown, we're made of carbon and oxygen and the very same components that the stars and the earth herself are made of. So feeling that weight of the body, your body, the body you get to inhabit. It's not who you are, but it is the one you spend 24/7 with. So just appreciating now the body resting on the chair, and then bringing your awareness up to the heart center. And we have so many symbols, don't we, for the heart? In fact, I've got some on my blouse right now. And, you know, scientifically they'll say, well, it's just a big pump. And yet so much in our language and our culture and our history is about the heart as a center for love, a center for compassion, clearly more in our minds than just a pump. And so just bring your awareness into the heart right now. And if you feel to place your hands on your heart, just bringing yourself into connection with what is regarded as the loving center of the physical body. And we don't know why or how that started, but it is, we know that. And so, you know, hand on heart, as we might say, just bringing your attention to yourself in this moment, hand on heart, for you, for that loving center right now. And then we're going to resting your hands, if you care to, and maybe just resting your hands together in your lap so that there's a sense of your own connection with yourself through the hands, the touch of the hands. The brain doesn't really care if it's your hand or somebody else's. It still registers the scent of touch and appreciates it. So you might just like to rest one hand on another. It can be quite comforting. And so now we're going to just tune into any sounds that might be in your environment and any sounds that may be outside your room or your house. Any birds, any noises, and just noticing them in the present moment. Any tastes that you're aware of in your sense of taste. Any aromas in the environment that you're aware of. And even if our eyes are closed, the sight behind closed eyes, sometimes light, sometimes just the darkness, and the sense of touch, of clothing on the skin, perhaps of one hand in another, so that the five senses bring our awareness into this present moment, into this now moment, which many talk about, as you no doubt are aware, and some say is very hard to reach. And it's not about stopping thinking, but it is about deliberately focusing on your awareness right now of yourself in this time and in this space, and that you've chosen to be here now. And whether that's watching me live on Facebook or whether it's watching later as a recording, it's still a choice that you've made to spend an hour of your life in this presence, in this focus. And so could you in this moment thank yourself for being here now, for making that choice, for being willing to be present. And let's bring our awareness up into the brain itself. Magnificent organ, holds potentially all the knowledge in the known universe, from what the scientists can tell, from the speed at which it operates, from the amount of light it's transmitting and generating. Most magnificent creature that cannot be replicated. Extraordinary and exquisite, and we got one for free with our human body. I mean, we couldn't afford to buy one. Be millions, billions of dollars. Doesn't exist. So we have this magnificent brain. It's nestling in the skull there. And let's point our attention to the left side of the brain, and then shift our awareness to the right side of the brain. Shifting the awareness back to the left side of the brain and to the right side of the brain. And we'll go one more time, to the left and to the right. And just noticing if there is any effect there of a sense of balance or flow between the hemispheres. I'm sure you're familiar with the idea that the hemispheres function differently and focus on different things. And when we get those hemispheres balanced and focused is when we feel the best. And really, a lot of our teaching at Quest is about how to bring the brain into that focus and that balance, because we know it is when we function the best and when we feel the best. So just noticing if you feel you've got that flow and that balance happening right now, taking notice of how that feels, because we like to direct the brain and say, I'd like to notice that now. I'd like to be aware of that balanced feeling because I'd be interested in reproducing it again. So gratitude, can you feel gratitude in this moment to the brain for being here, for obeying your instructions, for being willing to show up and listen and pay attention? And we're inviting the brain actively this afternoon to be a light and be alive. It has trillions of cells in it, active, conscious, awake and aware. This wonderful brain is the most valued thing, I don't want to call it a thing, but most valued collection of cells we know about in the known universe. And we have one for free. It is such a gift. And I say that really lovingly because I, like many of you, have struggled with the shenanigans of my brain when it has not felt like a gift. But in this moment, let's presence it as a gift, because it truly is. And then we'll talk as we go through our time together about how we might be able to experience more of that gift. So then just connecting from the top of the head down to the soles of the feet. And sometimes it's helpful, you may imagine that there's a cord, invisible cord from the top of your head as if you're hanging, being suspended in space, and down through the feet, so that you have a lovely alignment in the spine, in the body, so that it can feel most free, most present, most available to be here now. So thank you, everybody, and when you're ready, you might like to open your eyes, or you might like to really relax and keep them closed. And notice this. If you have reached a state of some relaxation, please again invite your brain to notice that. For those of us who have lived with post-traumatic stress symptoms for quite a while in our lives, or even a short time, or anxiety or depression or illness, we know that it can be very hard to bring the body into a state of relaxation because the nervous system's so wired for danger, for awakeness, for hypervigilance. And so when we do reach a state of awareness of relaxation, we really want to invite the brain deliberately to recognize it. Because the trauma brain, particularly, you go, oh yeah, relax, never mind about that. Where's the danger, right? It'll just keep focused on looking for that danger rather than notice the relaxation. So I do like to keep giving the brain conscious direction. Say, hey, I want to notice that moment of peace. I want to notice that moment of focus when I wasn't going over my problems. I want to notice a place where I felt, oh, I feel like a pleasant sense of relaxation now. I'm enjoying this activity. I want to notice those moments because, you know, doing better in life is about noticing what works and doing more of it, right? Whereas the trauma brain and the depressed brain will go, let's notice what doesn't work and think very hard about it for a long time. And if you've been trapped in that cycle, and you are right now, and I have been too for long periods of time, it's a bummer. What can we say? This just doesn't feel any good and it doesn't do us any good. So we're about practicing what makes the difference without making ourselves wrong. We're not doing it. It's what the brain naturally does. It's what all sentient animals do. If you've seen an animal that's been stressed, they do the same. They're nervous, they're edgy, they're looking for danger. It's just what a wired nervous system does. So we want to learn to help it, to support it, to notice when we're in a different state, because that's very helpful. So I'll come back to that somewhat when we talk about our topic today, which is, here we are, the 3rd of July, stepping into midwinter, stepping into the second half of the year, and there's a lot of talk going around, isn't there? You know, of all the things that are wrong and all the troubles and dangers that are going on. And we've lived through a turbulent few years and it doesn't seem to be calming down. It just seems that the news cycle's different. So, you know, for those of us who are also struggling with things in our lives that we need to manage day by day, we want to pay particular attention to our worldview. And so when I talk about stepping into the second half of the year with peace, I'm really talking about our worldview. And this is, if any of you have read Patria's book, Your Life Matters, or heard us talk at Quest for Life about the 4 C's, so that's the letter C. And Patria and other researchers identified that the people who had better than expected outcomes with life-threatening illnesses had these 4 qualities. These abilities, these skills, and these attitudes that were really significant. And if you've been following us at Quest here, you'll be familiar with some of them. First one is, you know, the control or the choice over whether we react, whether we're very reactive, or whether we're response able. The second one is our commitment to our own life, really paying attention to how we look after the body, how we look after the mind, how we look after the emotions, that we become willing to pay kind, loving attention to our own life and not put ourselves last and not put ourselves on the back burner and not martyr ourselves to other causes or to the shoulds. So that's a fabulous commitment that we hope all of you watching here are in the process of making that, and that spending this time with us today is part of that commitment. I will listen to uplifting things on Facebook. I will join uplifting people on Facebook. I will pay my mind attention to how to assist my mind to function even better and even better. And the third C is the accepting or the facing of events in our lives as challenges. And it's really all about, it's about the meaning that we make of things. And you know, the mind our mind, and I think this is probably a Western industrialized mind, I'm not sure that it's as true in other cultures, but our Western minds do like to give everything a meaning. And particularly one where many people are hooked on is, well, that happened and that's good. Well, that happened and that's bad. And that happened and that's good. And that happened, oh, well, at least that happened, that's a bit better. Oh, and then that happened, that was awful. And then that happened, that was good, right? We like to make a meaning. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? Do I like it? Do I not like it? What does it mean, right? And I'll just finish the 4 C's in case you feel I've left you hanging. And the 4th C is a sense of connection, which is what you're engaging in right now by coming and being with us today. And when I say us, it's me and all the people on the call and all the people who will watch later, all the facilitators at Quest. You know, we are part of this community that listens and focuses and is interested in these topics. And so it's a good community to tap into because we're of like mind. So going back to the 3rd C, the challenge is that when we really pay attention to what am I making this mean? What meaning am I making this? Now, it's very easy today, in these days, to find yourself in conversation with others making lots of worried meanings about what is happening in the world. And so, you know, and these conversations haven't changed much over the years, really. Just the details change. But they're the, oh my Lord, the cost of petrol. Oh my goodness, I paid $8 for cauliflower. Oh heavens, how can iceberg lettuce cost that much? Oh goodness, rents and what are we going to do? And, you know, concerns about different countries in the world and what they're doing and all the things. You know what I'm talking about. And it's very tempting, and if you're of an older generation like myself, you know that we heard our parents do it, and we've heard, and you know, people on the radio do it, and it goes over and over. And here's the things we should worry about, and here's the different content. And if you've been listening to it long enough, you know that the stories are pretty consistent. And one of the things I often reflect on, you know, is a sense of history is really a useful thing because we're not the first generation who's been threatened with a rising cost of living. We're not the first generation who's been alarmed about the aggression of other countries and what they are doing or might be going to do. We're not the first generation who found themselves barely able to afford petrol. We're not the first generation who's been worried about how to put a roof over our head. These things are not new. I think we can say with confidence they've been here since the beginning of time. Certainly the books we have access to that recount stories and myths and legends and the Bible from thousands of years ago, pretty much those concerns have been going right from the beginning of the human story, apparently. The job of maintaining life on the planet and putting some kind of shelter over our head and some kind of food in front of us and feeling safe from attack are themes of human life, not modern life. They're themes of human life, and they've been here ever since humans have been conducting life on this planet, however long we think that is, right? So there's, you know, that old saying, there's nothing new under the sun, under our sun. I'd say that's pretty right. So I offer that for your contemplation to just see if it might be useful for you going into the second half of the year to shift your perspective somewhat and go, yes, it is. Boy, petrol's taking a chunk out of my budget, never did before, or rent is really concerning, or whatever that is, and not belittling our concerns, but saying, you know, you may have stories from your family. I know my father lived in his car during the Great Depression as a young man. Like, I'm sure you've got stories of those, and the baby boomers, you know, Monty Python made a joke about all our parents, you know, to walk to school and had one shoe and, you know, were starving. And, you know, we had parents and grandparents who lived through 2 world wars and a depression. You couldn't beat them for worrying stories. And so that's been a real feature of our families, if you think about it. and our children and going forward. So maybe we could say, yep, that pretty much comes with the territory of life on planet Earth. So do I have to make that mean anything especially huge right now and see it as overwhelming, or say, that is the way history has been. I am looking for ways to cope with my story of it, and am looking for ways to address this more consciously myself, so that I can walk through these times where these issues are up again with perhaps a clearer point of view, or a point of view that I can choose. So I need to watch the conversations I have and watch what others make it mean, and watch out for what I make it mean, because this is the way of the world. Now, I really know, and I want to particularly address those of you watching who may be in that very difficult territory of burnout, depression, post-traumatic stress. And I know that many of our attendees at Quest, this is their issues, or you're dealing with a life-threatening circumstance or illness in you or someone you love, or life has just been too difficult for too long. You know, my personal, as a therapist, my definition of depression is people have been too sad and too lonely for too long. So this can be our story. And I'm not saying, oh, just say, oh, well, you know, I'm not inviting you to have a point of view that says, oh, well, people have it worse than me and everybody has this. It's just to feel, rather than feel separate from the human race in what you're experiencing, going, you know, I've watched enough movies and read enough books about the war and different things to know that people have been going through these experiences of difficulty in life for many generations. But I would suggest to you, the thing that hasn't been true before in other generations is we have, right now in 2022, the most extraordinary resources at our fingertips. And I know you can all use them because you're on a Facebook Live right now. So I'm not talking to the uninitiated here, because here you are. You know, I've told the story probably too many times that when I had postpartum depression in the early 80s, I had one book that was kind of giving me hope that I could get through, and the TV and the radio used to go off at 11 p.m. Can you believe that? And I had a long, lonely night with a crying baby ahead of me, and nothing, no radio, no TV. I remember I used to cry as the man said, City of Sydney. They used to sing a song, you know, and shut the TV station down. I'd be there going, no, don't leave me. Just saying, I personally am very grateful that in 2022, I can have a little iPad, a little computer at my reach, and say, if I'm up in the middle of the night for whatever reason, I have every great mind on the planet at my fingertips for free, 24/7. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. And just in case you're young enough to not imagine, can't imagine it all shutting down at 11 o'clock, let me tell you, it's a scary thing. So we have this amazing resource that has not, as far as we know, has not been on the planet before, where we can connect with people in the Ukraine and send them good wishes, where we can listen to people speaking about a meaning that they're making of all of this, that can be uplifting, that can be enlightening. We also have the opportunity to listen to people making lots of other meanings of it, and then we get to choose, where do I want to focus? Where do I want to put my focus? And I really caution you, if you've got any version of a depressed, low mood setting in your brain, chemical lockdown happening, that you watch with care. I know I've been working with people for over 30 years, that the depressed brain loves a good documentary on what's wrong with the world. The traumatized brain loves a good documentary on further dangers that you hadn't even thought of yet. Why, we might ask, is it doing that? Well, it's saying, I need to be prepared. I need to know what's coming. I've got to be on the lookout. I've got to know, right, what's going on. And when I'm working with people, my first thing is, what are you watching? And could you stop? Could you please stop watching all the things about what is wrong with the world, what's going wrong? It's not going to help your mental health, And thereby, in my view of the world, it's not helping the planet. You know, we know now the quantum field, quantum physics, it's a well-established science. We know that all the teachings about, you know, you can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. Well, some of us don't feel like we've got a lot of control on those thoughts. But we want to say that it's clear, and they've done research, when people are projecting positive thoughts, and whether that's in the form of prayer or sending a rainbow or meditating, they've got experiments of bringing 1,000 meditators into the city of Washington, DC over a summer, and the crime rate going down by 50%. True story, look it up. So when we are engaging in peaceful thoughts, I'm not saying positive thoughts, because flipping negative to positive is just flipping the coin, and often the brain just goes, oh no, she really means negative. It's like, oh yeah, it's the same thing, so I'll just flip it. So you don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want to say anything negative, I'll just say the positive. That doesn't work. It's not helping the brain. Where we want to go is actually, what would be peaceful to focus on right now? What is going to help me, and therefore the world in my environment, become peaceful? It's not true that we can't do anything about it. Now, we can't hopefully pick up a gun and go to the war zone. We can't rescue everybody from not having somewhere to sleep tonight. We can do some things. We can send money. We can, you know, write to people. We can do things. But we know for sure that the more of us holding the space of peace actually shifts what's going on. There's a lot of research about this. This is no longer a fanciful woo-woo idea. People have, I'm happy to say, spent time and money researching it, and you know what? Really amazing. So, and anyway, why not just try that out? You may not believe me. You don't have to. It's not a belief. You can look it up yourself. And if you still think that's a load of old rubbish, doesn't matter. Why not try it? Because if your brain feels better, you'll feel better. And it's okay to be selfish and want yourself to be committed to you having a quality of life, because your life matters to you. So, number one, practical, because at Quest we're all about the practical. I really want to invite you, if you're in the habit of watching all the documentaries and Q&As about all the things that are problematic in the world, give yourself a break from it and just see what that does to your mood. And look for things, and there are things on the many platforms we have to look at now. My goodness, we don't just have 24/7. We've got so many things to look at. It delights me. I go, oh my gosh, I can have any book I want at my fingertips. I can just buy it and it's on my little thing, and I don't have to find a bookstore. This is amazing, right? I can watch all these movies. I read about a movie. I can find it in my living room. And if we, I think when people say, oh, I don't believe it if I can't see it, it's like, can you see that movie getting out of that modem onto your TV set? Because I can't. Like, we are living in the world of things that we can't see. Spooky things at a distance, Einstein called them. So there is so much for you to choose from about what you watch, what you put into your brain. And there are many shows I find on the platforms, that are available to us, that are made with love, that are truly about clever people doing brilliant things on the planet, with the environment, with animals, with children, with amazing beings. YouTube, oh my God, what a gift. So I'm inviting you to make a commitment, if you haven't already done so, to, for the second half of this year, really be aware of what you're watching, focusing on, and supporting yourself with. I mean, I prescribe television to some of my clients. I go, here's a show that's all about beautiful people doing things with horses in front of some lovely mountains and loving each other. Go watch that, right? Like, there are things to watch that really make you feel better about life and better about the world. So let's do that, because what we're interested in is, how do I walk into the second half of the year with inner peace in my heart, with a feeling of, I'm not alone in a hostile world, in a hostile universe. I'm on a unique, amazing planet with 7.5 billion other souls here doing something apparently, and we're all trying to do something. And I would say in our first nature, really, what we most want to do always is we want to love everybody and we want to be loved by everybody. And so what if we focused on the people who are doing that? There are millions of them doing brilliant things, feeding the homeless, going into places, rescuing children and animals and helping the environment and creating magical things and doing amazing things. There really are. They don't make it onto the news, but they're there. So my first practical tip about how to walk into the second half of the year peacefully is to really seek out what lifts us up, what lights us up, and say, I am going to focus on that. I'm going to choose to focus on that because I want good chemistry in my brain. You know, we've changed our language so much about, you remember our parents, and some people will still say, oh, I just want you to be happy. You know, and we go, oh, yeah, right. Well, how do we do that? And how are you showing me how to do that, Mum and Dad? And what's going, you know? It's like, thanks for those of you in the chat saying, yes, you can do the experiment. Thank you. Good on you. So, you know, this idea of I just want to be happy or I just want you to be happy, I think we've realised it's a bit trickier than that. And when we've had to struggle, particularly with our mental health, and that feels out of our reach, you know, we're looking for another way. And so all the wonderful neuroscience that's come out in the last 20 years is giving us this amazing awareness of it's more about brain chemistry. It's not about who you are. It's not about whether you're a weak person or a strong person or a good person or a bad person. It's not about that. It's not about whether you're lovable or unlovable. I mean, these are the things the brain likes to tell us and stories it likes to make. But I invite you to consider, you know, my brain, fabulous, beautiful, amazing organ that I have in my head that can do magnificent things. I don't want to waste it. How can I help it be at its best? Well, you feed it good food about love, about upliftment, about what's going right in the world, what you could be inspired and uplifted by, and then you really make a choice to use it for good. I'm using the word good deliberately here, right? To use it for your own good. So when we say, you've probably heard us say happiness is an inside job, and you know, when you're depressed, you go, like, yeah, right, you know, we're like, what do you mean? And you know, nobody's become depressed by accident. I fully understand that I've never met anyone who's just depressed for no reason. So there are real things going on. I'm not suggesting that's not true for a moment. We've got wounds, we've got trauma, we've got betrayals, we've got losses, we've got grief, sadness, we've just lost the will to go on. I truly have experienced this in my life for many years of my life. So I do understand that place. And, you know, I'm not different now because my life's all better. The things that can get me there are still true. The losses still have happened. I'm still the carer for a person with a disability. You know, still the age, now I'm the age I am, all things that people might say are depressing. But I, many years ago now, made a commitment. I just had this awareness one day. I said, you know, I could take this life to mean that I'll never enjoy myself again. If I keep really delving into this is so terrible, how will I ever get by? And everyone's saying to me, oh, you're so marvellous, how are you doing it? And I'm going, oh yes, I don't know, it's all terrible. I'll never have another happy day. And I just went, no, that can't happen. I'm not available. I'm not saying yes to that. I'm just not. So I went looking for what made a difference, you know, really to the next level. You know, I'd got out of serious depression. I wasn't in danger anymore, but I wasn't enjoying life. And so I went, no, this is not good enough for me. I won't spend the rest of my life like this. I will go and find what makes a difference. So I did, you know, up the meditation. I've been doing yoga and meditation. There's no doubt, and we talk about that a lot at Quest, that's a big help because we've got to calm the brain down. It's only in the last 15 years we've got all this wonderful new information about post-traumatic stress symptoms that I've realised that a lot of things I've judged myself for mercilessly as failures of my personality are actually post-traumatic stress symptoms. So I've had to do a lot of forgiveness to myself, to others. I'm only sharing this as an example, I guess, of that at some point we do need to make a choice about I'm doing the experiment to see if I can change my brain chemistry. Like, it's a very different experiment than to see if I can make myself worthy of love, to see if I can make myself a good enough person to deserve something good happening to be nice enough that people won't judge me, or to earn the love and approval of people. Like, you see how we have tried to do those things, haven't we? I bet you can relate to some of that for years and years and years, thinking that it's all about there's something wrong with me. And now we know beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's not about there's something wrong with us, it's about what has happened to our brain by virtue of our experiences. And so that's something at Quest we talk about, that we need to unpack that in our lives, because if we're stuck in a cycle of depression and anxiety and traumatization, we do need to look at it, because we can change that. We can make changes. It's got nothing to do with our worth as a human being. You know, when you were born as a little baby, you were just as gorgeous, adorable and lovable as any other miraculous. I mean, a baby is a miracle. And we know that even if you haven't held a human baby in your arms, you've seen a puppy dog or a pussycat, and you just go, there's something so miraculous about that. That's our first nature. That is who we are. And at some point we get taught a whole lot of lessons about, but I'm a broken version, or I'm the not okay version because look how this one's rejected me, or I never felt my mother loved me, or people were always yelling at me, or I was stupid in school, or you know the story. My body's the wrong shape, my face doesn't look right, blah, blah, blah. That we can torture ourselves and think, I'm the only one. You know what I'd love to do at Quest in another rooms full of people? When I've got a room full of people, I go, okay, please put your hand up here in this room if you have never felt that you're not good enough. And every hand goes up. Have you ever felt in your life that you are not good enough? 100% of hands go up. Now, I know that some people live their lives committed to the idea that they are not good enough. Not good enough for who? For mum, for dad, for the teachers, for God? I don't know. But most people, when I say not good enough for who, can't answer the question. So what I'm suggesting to you, we're not saying, oh, don't just go, I'm good enough, I'm worth it, I'm deserving. Because if you've tried that, you'll find it often feels kind of hollow and like you're pretending, because underneath you're going, oh, not really, right? I don't really believe that. I'm suggesting that we just stop having that conversation. It's not a useful conversation to have. If something comes up about I'm good enough, I'm not good enough, you go, you know what? I'm really not interested in that whole old story going on there. If it's not yours, people have been writing about that, singing about that, talking about that since before you arrived on the planet. You didn't make that story up. It's not about you. It's embedded in many religions. It's embedded in the way many people raise their kids, to keep telling them what they're doing wrong and hope that they'll do something right. It's embedded in many places in the culture. Everything you do is measured and compared, and none of that's very helpful. But what if we just stop having, go, I don't care. Good enough, not good enough, schmut enough, whatever. What I am interested in, though, very interested in, is my brain chemistry, because that is actually the secret to my happiness. Truly, truly. This is researched beyond a doubt now. And we don't have to take drugs to influence that brain chemistry. Now, we might at times. They can be very helpful things if our brain chemistry is just run out of steam and couldn't think a positive thought to save itself. And I've been a recipient of antidepressant medication, found it very helpful on a couple of occasions in my life. So glad I had it. So it's not a do that, don't do that scenario. It's about there are many things I can do to help my brain chemistry. You know, the first one we're always going to talk about at Quest is meditation, because the research on that is so clear now. And if you're wondering where to start with that, Dr. Sarah Lazar, Lazar, Harvard University, watch her TED talk where she thought it was all woo-woo yoga types telling tall tales until she put people in the MRI machine she had, because she's a brain researcher at Harvard University, and discovered that in 8 weeks people's brains had changed through the practice of meditation, and they weren't life meditators. So this is amazing news. We have agency, we have choices we can make to change our brain and change our life through practicing these very practical things. So number one is being very aware, just as I hope you are aware of what you put in your body, that you become very aware of what you put in your brain, in your mind, what food you feed it. And then we say, okay, now what is a surefire way to improve the chemistry? Because if you're anxious all the time, or you're on a hypervigilance through trauma, or you're depressed, your brain doesn't have any of the happy hormones and happy chemicals to work with, right? That's why we take serotonin uptakers to help the brain produce more of that. But we know that some terrific things give us that brain chemistry, and if we are practicing that every day, even if we're on the medication, we can greatly influence and help that process. So meditating, we know, I'm sure you know that exercising does, but you know when you're depressed and you're not well, exercising isn't a fun option. And personally, I've never been a great exerciser. I do love dancing, so put on some happy music and dance. That's a good one. Laughing, right? There's famous research, and you can look it up, of the guy who cured himself of cancer by locking himself in a hotel room and watching videos back in the day of funny movies. So we have some favourite comedians on YouTube, and if the mood gets low in my house and everybody's obsessing and nobody's brain's working well, I go, right, let's put some Jimmy on the YouTube and have a laugh. He's a surefire laugh. What's my other? Big Bang Theory, surefire laugh out loud, right? And you name your own one. And even if you're not laughing out loud right now, if it even gets a bit of a smile out of you, put them on like I need a laugh. I need to have a laugh for the brain chemistry. I need a hug for the brain chemistry. Now here's the other good news. You don't actually need someone else to hug you. Good news. Lovely if you have someone. Excellent. But you know, one of the reasons we wring our hands when we're upset is because this contact, like holding someone's hand, actually works, as I said earlier. So, you know, we can hug ourselves, we can smooth ourselves. Now, do it in a quiet, closed room if you think you look weird. But, you know, the other fun thing is the brain doesn't seem to care if it's a live puppy dog or a stuffed teddy bear. So for years, I've been having my clients buy teddy bears, and some are like, really, no, this is just too weird. But honestly, if you get a good teddy that's a good cuddle, it's so comforting, because it's about the receptor sites in our skin. It's about something squishy and warm, something we feel positive about. If we bond to it, even better, right? And maybe you had that when you were a child. Children have those transitional objects, they're called in the techo language, for a reason, because it helps their brains to balance. It does comfort them. They've associated it with being loved and comforted, and someone being present for them who's kind and not going to judge and criticize them. Which brings me on to my next topic. That after my years and years of working with my own brain and many other people's with these conditions, I know that the single biggest contributing factor to getting into a downward spiral in the brain is what's going on in your head from you to you. And I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's the moment where you notice something's wrong outside, or something's wrong, you think, inside. I made a mistake, I'm feeling down, I've just overreacted, I wasn't nice to someone, someone wasn't nice to me. You get the drift, right? Something triggers you. It's the next thing you do that is key. Do in here, right? And what I know, beyond the shadow of doubt, I invite you to look at this if this is relevant for you, is that if you have a program, and most of us do, I'm not pointing the finger, I'm pointing the finger here, right? We all do have a program that says, oh, there I go again, or typical, that always happens to me, or yep, nobody loves me and neither does that person, or yeah, I'm about to be rejected again, or yep, that's right, that'd be the way, right? If your next first thought about that trigger is a negative message to yourself about the fact that you're getting it wrong because you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, there you go again being stupid or silly, you never get it right, why did you say that, why didn't you just do something else, or that the world is all wrong and they're getting it wrong and they never get it right and they're doing something wrong, what do you think that does to your brain chemistry? Nothing good, right? Sends you down the gurgler. So it is super, 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 super important at that moment when you notice, I'm feeling bad, they're looking at me funny, I don't like that, something's happened, something's gone on, I'm triggered. The minute you have that awareness, and it's why, at Quest we're saying all the time, your self-awareness is the beginning of you being able to be skillful in responding to your own inner states, i.e. where you're not peaceful. And what's so, so important is that you become willing to make the commitment to be kind to yourself. This, I promise you, I have walked many people out of some very dangerous places in their own heads. And this is the key to it, that you become willing to be kind to yourself. And so when you hear yourself go, oh, there I go again, or I can't believe I just did that or said that, or typical of me or typical of them, you go, hold on. I'm committed to peaceful living. I'm committed to being kind to myself. Not because I'm good enough or I deserve it or somebody else, just because I've decided. I've just decided that that's how it has to be in my life. I don't have to evaluate that I deserve it. And honestly, it could just be because I can't bear to live with the opposite any longer. I can't bear to live with the harsh, critical, hopeless, helpless voice that's in there wanting to torture me about how I get it wrong, how it's not okay, right? So it takes a choice on your part, simply founded on willingness to do the experiment. Is it within your power to bring inner peace to your own brain, to your own life? I'm saying it is. We're here at Quest to support you. We're online with you 3 times a week and once a month, and we're on the phone and we're running these wonderful programs. We're saying we are here to support you in this. It is possible. We have all done it. You find Patria, all the staff, we're there because we've done it. And when I say done it, we're still doing it on a daily basis. I'm not telling you this because I'm over it now, I'm all better. Yeah, I can still go there, especially in the wee hours of the morning, right? You lying there in bed and suddenly go, hang on, what's happening? What's going on here? What's going on here? Whoa, hold the phone. No, hang on, no. Okay, we're not trying to control our thoughts. I just want to make that distinction. It's not about controlling our thoughts. It's about choosing something else. Now, you might call that control, but it's not about saying, stop thinking that, think something else. It's about, what do I want to do right now? Do I want to be kind to myself? Because then what I need to be thinking about is, how can I support myself in this moment? Right? If I've been lying here, not sleeping, and letting my brain run riot for half an hour, even an hour, I need to do something else. I need to get up, turn the lights on, make a cup of tea. I know the other morning at 2 a.m. I had mung bean soup, just because I could, right? It doesn't matter. There don't have to be rules about what you can and can't do. What is going to feel nurturing and nourishing to me in this moment and get me through the night with love and kindness. That's what's important. Did I overreact? Did I hear a siren, hear a bang, jump, don't criticise her. I might have done all of that. So, okay, I'm human. I'm only human. How can I be kind to myself now? What do I need to help myself calm down? Do I need to just leave the room? Do I need to turn the TV off? Do I need to shut the barking dog outside? That was me this morning. What do I need to do to be kind to myself? Because I'm going for inner peace, and I'm setting the intention right here today, or whenever you watch this video, that's not the word, you know what I mean, Facebook Live, that I'm making the commitment to walk into the second half of 2022 with kindness, because you can't have inner peace without kindness. You can't. To have inner peace, we must have kindness and compassion. We don't get inner peace from judgment, from harshness, from rejection, from shaming and blaming people. That doesn't bring inner peace. We don't find inner peace when we control people and things. We find inner peace when we cooperate, when we collaborate, when we choose with kindness how to support people. Then we find inner peace. That's what we love to do at Quest. You meet anybody who works at Quest, we will say we love to be there because we love to treat people with kindness. We love to support people. We love to assist people to do the experiment and watch them change and light up. It's such a joy for us, always. You'll never find us complaining, and we always get something out of it ourselves, right? So no one at Quest is saying, well, I'm here to help you because I'm all better now. We're always telling stories on ourselves about what we did yesterday, not years ago I did this, no, yesterday, right? Because that's real, isn't it? We're living our lives as best we can, and some of us are living it with difficult brains that have had tough times and are tired. You know, the thing about if you've had PTSD and anxiety and depression or an illness, all the things, is it's tiring to keep trying to go forward and find the will to get up and do it again. And I think what really helps about the Quest teachings is that we're suggesting that you don't just do the same old thing, that you actually do something different. It's all about using the tools, doing the experiments so that we become skilled, so that we go, okay, I'm lost right now, I don't know what to do. Okay, I've got skills, I've got tools. What are they? You know, we can pick up a Tria's book. We can switch on to someone on YouTube that inspires us, or music that uplifts us or gives us a break. How do I be kind to myself in the moment? I promise you that is the most important attitude shift you can make to assist your mental health, and that will assist you in dealing with everything. And that walking peacefully into the second half of 2022 is about really committing to, I will be kind to myself for the rest of this year. I'll make that a commitment and I'll review it at the end of the year. I'll see if I think that helped change. I will really watch out for focusing on all that's wrong with the world and go, you know, all of these issues about how to support ourselves to live and how to live a safe life have been issues for all of humanity's journey on planet Earth. So it's a well-trodden path, and how can I use the gifts and advantages of the modern age to make a difference to that in my life and therefore in other people's lives? We do affect our environment. By focusing together today, we're putting some great energy into the quantum field. We're making a difference. And so I invite you to really look at these issues and the other suggestions that we made. You find more suggestions on the Quest website. If you're thinking you don't know how to meditate, you might join Patria on a Monday night and meditate with her online. You might read some of our literature or watch some of the videos. You might have already done that and have other things that you do. But thank you so much for coming here and being with me this afternoon. It may have just been a timely reminder for some of you of what you already knew. Might have hopefully offered you one or two things that were new, or maybe it was all new. And it's fantastic. I mean, I love speaking it because it really assists me too. And so let us all together just go, yep, we are making the commitment to walking through the rest of this year with kindness to ourselves, kindness to humanity, and to make a difference by bringing more of our own peaceful journey into the world. And it is possible. You know, world peace comes from many, many people with inner peace. So let's be part of that change together today. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been truly a pleasure. I will be here again tomorrow morning at Quest at home at 11 o'clock in the morning, and our other beautiful facilitators will be with you Wednesday and Friday. And of course, we do Quest Connect again next month on the first Sunday in August. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday, and see you again soon.